everybody. Welcome back to Everyone is Addicted. Today's guest is Dr. Catherine, and she has graciously come on to talk to us. So I'm going to hand it off to her. Thank you so much for coming on and talking with us.
Thanks for letting me come and speak with you all. My name is Dr. Catherine Darley, and I'm a sleep expert. And the addiction that really impacts sleep that we're going to talk about today is our cell phones. We pick these up over and over and over during the day and get that dopamine hit from interacting with the phone. But as a sleep expert, there's a couple ways that I think about our phones interfering with sleep. One is that addiction component, like, oh, what's going on? I'm in bed trying to sleep, but I need to pick up my phone. The other problem is the light. The light from our phone is enough, and it's the wrong kind of light that it interferes with us feeling drowsy. And so then there's more laying in bed, awake, thinking, oh, since I'm awake, I should just check my phone. And it gets into this feed forward problem with the phone addiction, worsening sleep, and the worse sleep, reaching out for the phone.
Well, I know myself that I sometimes will, if I oversleep, will kind of wake up and have a panic attack because I need to check my phone because I'm afraid I missed something. And it's not even like it's some like overly important. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like it
Yeah.
is affecting my children. It's not like it's affecting my immediate family. So why am I having a panic attack over messages that I can look at any time? Like it's so true. We don't really think about that, like that it's addicting to us and that it's affecting our sleep, but it really does. And I mean, I know that, like, that's what I said. Like, I just have a pay, even in the middle of the night, like you said, if I wake up to go pee, I will check my phone. And does, it takes me longer to fall back to sleep because I've woken myself back up, use that lighting that I like that you said that affects our our sleep cycles and our brains and stuff like that. And like you said, you get that dopamine hit, you wake up a little bit, and then it's harder to fall back to sleep. So it definitely is something I think a lot of people don't think about, but I know there's more to it, so I'll let you keep going. But yeah, I definitely am a person who does exactly what you said.
Yeah, and I think most people, I would say, have some level of phone addiction. There's a recent study that came out where they had people take the internet connectivity off of their phone. So it was really what we would call a dumb phone instead of a smartphone. People could get texts, they could get phone calls, but none of the social media, none of the reading the news, none of that. And at the end of 3 weeks, they check back in, what has been the difference in your life? People reported feeling less anxious. People reported having more time and just a sense of more free time, and also being more present with what they're doing instead of distracted. And that's, those are all quality of life issues, right? If you have all those things, a sense of more time, less anxious, feeling more present for what you're doing and not distracted, that boosts your quality of life.
That's a huge one for me, and I notice it that I'm not present all the time, especially with having kids. I notice that at times I realize that I'm not being present and I have to put it down because I don't want to miss them growing up, obviously. And I also don't want to make them feel like I'm not paying attention to them. So my daughter will be telling me a story, and I'll be texting somebody, or not even texting, messaging somebody a messenger for my other business, and they can wait. My daughter is more important. So I've realized lately how the lack of presence has really come out from the cell phone. And it's like if I would you wouldn't notice it right away, but in like 5 years from now, I would be like really regretting the fact that I was sitting there chatting with people about their life problems when I could be spending time with my daughter and answering them later. And that it really is just something like you said, like the study, it's just you really would have a better quality of life. I actually I was probably one of the last people to get a smartphone. Everybody made fun
Mm.
of me. And I look back at it now, and they were always on their phones, and I would notice it. And that's why I was like, I worked for the phone company. And I'm like, I'm not getting a cell phone because I worked for tech support. And I would get all these people calling me panicking because their phone's not working, right? So I went a really long time before I even got one.
Mm.
And it was because I noticed that people would freak out because they can't use it. And it goes back to what you're saying of we're just so addicted to them. And it's like and that was even like 10 years ago when it was just the games that was the addiction. But now it's the social media, it's everything is at your fingertips. So it makes it
Right. And
really hard.
yeah, I mean, you're wise to have seen that and to held off for so long. And, the thing that we know about the cell phones and the social media and all that, they are designed to keep us on, right? And to keep us addicted. There are, psychologists working for Facebook and Meta and all of those different companies, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, that are purposefully designing it to be addictive because they make money the longer we're on their app and they can show more ads and they can mine our data. So it's really also about, taking back your privacy, all of that. So can we talk a little about a few practices?
Yes, that would be great
Um,
even for me because like I said, I have a little bit of a problem with it just from the fact of, like I said, I get messages from people, but I don't need to answer them right away. So, but I have that panicky feeling like I have to, right? So, yes, go right ahead. I would love it.
yeah, yeah. So you mentioned using your cell phone for work in addition to some social, it sounds like. As best you can, structure your time that you have work time and you have time that's off. And when you have that work time, if you can, do the tasks on your computer, on your laptop, because it doesn't have as much of an addictive quality. And this is a huge box. Like you pick it up to respond to that one person on Messenger about work. But then because you're on Messenger, you see social or you see news or you see,
Hmm.
I'm a big quilter. I am on the Facebook quilt groups and I'll get a notification, oh, new post. And I'm like, oh, pretty picture. And I'll get distracted, right? Just the mindset of when you're sitting at your desk with your computer thinking, I'm going to take care of work and money making right now is a different mindset than when you're on your phone. And having things be as separate as possible is a good strategy. So, when you do have to be getting online to do work, do it on your laptop as best you can. The other thing that you can do, and I do this with my family. I have a daughter who's just starting college, so she's got a lot of questions and updates and whatnot for me. What I do now, because I'm trying to fight my own phone addiction and just, the one that everybody has, is I send her a text or I'll even phone her and say, hey, I'm going to do a deep dive on a project for a couple hours and I'm going to turn my ringer off. Is there anything you need now? Right. And
Hmm.
then that can be a good way just to have a little separation. And then once we've taken care of whatever business we have to take care of, I will turn the phone off, or I will um, turn the ringers and the notifications all off. I think it's actually better to turn it off, but that might seem too hardcore for people. But and then I put a sticky on the back and with the time, like I'm going to work on this project for 3 hours and I'm not going to pick this baby up in that time. And that can be really freeing just to know, okay, I've got this concentrated time. I'm not going to pay attention to the other stuff. And it's amazing, really amazing, Jasmine, how much you can get done when you're not like getting the notifications. That can feel like really
Because it
liberating.
stops you in the middle, right? You hear ding, and then you're like, oh, you pick it up, and just like you said, then you see a notification, and then you see something that interests you, and then you just start reading that, and then it just kind of spirals, and you're not putting it down because you're just continuing to dive into all these little things that are at your fingertips that are distractions, I guess, like they're very good distractions.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other tip that I would give is around sleep. We know that when people are well rested, they are less anxious, they're less depressed, they're better motivated, have an easier time self-regulating. A lot of, as you know, and I'm sure other guests have talked about, is that sometimes addictions build up or develop as we're trying to self-regulate,
Hmm.
right? It's a self-regulation tool, or it starts out that way. And and not getting enough sleep makes it harder for us to self-regulate and kind of creates a good environment for addictions to begin. So we want people to get enough sleep. Couple things about the phone. Three things. One is we have this hormone melatonin you've probably heard about. I'm sure your listeners have heard about. I'm talking about the melatonin that's inherent in our body and
Yeah, not the
specifically in our
actual medication, not like the gummy
not the pills,
gummies
but
to
what's
put to
in
go to
our
sleep.
body.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So the melatonin in our body, if you are in natural light, like think camping or most of human history,
mhm,
as the sun goes down, the light becomes more red and it gets dimmer, right? And in that natural light condition, our melatonin will actually start to rise about 2 hours before we go to bed. But this phone gives off blue light, which is
yeah,
more in the morning, and it's bright enough that it basically tells our brain it's morning, time to wake up. And that's not going to help us sleep. So the recommendations for the phone for night is for 2 hours before bed to put on, if you have to be on your phone or your devices, to put on what's called a blue light filter. It's just a setting on your phone, or you can get
yeah,
apps that do that. Do that because you want your natural melatonin to start to rise, because people used to be actually drowsy when they went to bed, and it was
mhm,
because melatonin helps us be drowsy. The other alternative, which I love, is to get some blue blocking glasses. I don't have them handy to show people, but there are those glasses that have like a reddish orange lens to them.
yeah,
Those can be great to use. And then the other thing about the phone, the second tip is to put it put it on the ringers on or whatever you need to do so people can call you in an emergency, but put it in another room and kind of treat it during sleep hours, make it function like a landline. You know,
yeah,
your important people, parents, grandparents, kids, close friends, whoever needs to contact you in an actual emergency, like they're going to the hospital and they need you to know that kind of emergency, those people can contact you. But other than that, don't have the notifications on, you don't have anything on. If you have the phone just even in your bedroom, we're so trained to be hyper vigilant to these things that even if you have it, studies show that even if you have it on airplane mode, if it's in your bedroom, you don't sleep as well.
You check it. You can't. I like if you get up, like I said, if you get to go to the bathroom, you're gonna check it. If you just happen to wake up in the middle of the night for some reason, you have to check it. And sometimes, like, I think it becomes a routine where your body wakes up throughout the night to check it instead of going through proper REM cycle. I think that you've kind of created your own routine of checking it throughout the night. Do you know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
like I know my mind does it and it I don't mean for it to, but it does. And I think back to when I was a kid and we didn't have any of those devices, we were all so much happier. Like now, kids will get together and all be on a device playing a game, but they're playing together on a device in the same room, opposed to actually going outside and playing in like the bush or something. Do you know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
actually using their imagination. And I'm wondering what's going to happen in like the next 10 to 20 years with this being something that's come out in a generation that has like that generation that is lived with it their whole lives. What is their level of like attention span going to be like? They're like so many things, right? Like
Oh,
because it
totally.
really is the biggest addiction possibly out there because we all have them. We can't live without them. My mom is the only person I know that refuses to use a cell phone. And I swear it's just because she knows that she'll get addicted to playing the games because that's what she does on the computer. So she knows she has it at her
Yeah.
fingertips that that's all she's going to do all day. And she has so much more time, like you said, and she is so much more present. And she gets so frustrated if I'm sitting there texting somebody because I'm not listening to her. And she points it out. And that's where I notice the part where I'm not being present. And that's what I mean by the next generation. Are they ever going to be present with their families and stuff? Because I mean, you see the videos online again through your phone of people using the phone walking into things or falling into a pool or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
because
right.
they're so focused on it. But those tips, honestly, I think if everybody did that, maybe we wouldn't have such like I know it really affects sleep, but even in like daily life, we wouldn't be so connected to a little box. We would go back to the way life used to be before instead of like you're cleaning and then you hear a ding and then you stop and then there's another 15 minutes taken away from you what you were doing and takes 15 minutes longer. And then you hear another ding
Yeah.
and it does it again. And then you know what I mean? So it's a cycle in day and in night for me anyways. I mean I know I'm not like I have a friend who has likes to shop on the phone. And so
Uh,
she is up all the time after her daughter goes to bed on Amazon all like and you said with the lighting she'll sit in a dark room with the blue light in her face shopping and she complains to me all the time that she has such a hard time sleeping. Well, I'm going to say to her now, well, this is how you can sleep properly. Watch this video and you will see. Do you have any other
yeah.
tips for us that could help too?
Well, I think, and I'm sure you know this, and people listening know this, that fighting addiction is hard. It takes energy, it takes willpower. So, as you're incorporating these tips, I would give yourself grace because there's going to be probably times that you are like, okay, I'm going to do the recommendation of I want to work on this project and just like nail it, get this out. It's going to take 3 hours. I'm turning my ringer off. I'm putting my phone in another room. I'm putting the time on it. Like no, I'm not doing my phone because I'm doing this stuff that's actually going to move my life forward.
Hmm.
And then, hour and a half into it, you'll be like, oh gosh, tired of this. I'll just check my phone. Like, that's okay. You took the first step. And so give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up about it. And, I think if people can do those three things of carving out time where you're not on your phone during the day, and making sure that you are either wearing blue blocking glasses for the 2 hours before bed, or doing all the things to turn down the blue light, and then having your phone in another room during sleep hours, I think that is going to make a world of difference for people. And in my work setting, um, often there's some downtime, and we could look on our phones and check the news, or Facebook or whatever. But that feeds into the addiction. And so what I've taken to doing is, during work hours, I just put my phone in my locker. And so it is like, down the hall, and I
Mm.
can't be getting to it. And I think that's actually helping, because, the just reading the news and scrolling all the time is disempowering, and it makes us a lot less happy, like you were saying.
It also, I think, too, because everybody likes to put only good things about their lives online, it creates a lot of envy and depression and negativity in people because they see other people's lives and they're like, well, why isn't my life like this? I wish I had that. And then that's where the beating yourself up and just envy and all these negative thoughts start flooding your head, and depression, like, oh, they just got this nice new house and I'm struggling financially or something like that, or oh, they just went to Disney and I can't afford to even go to Taco Bell or something like that, right? So it's like
Right.
that aspect of the addiction also feeds into people's mental health too, right? Because they're always seeing all these things and thinking, how come I don't have that? Or
Absolutely.
also people falling for scams out there. Like there's so much that's negative that comes with the phone, that being able to put those practices into place would also make you see that, like separate that, do you know what I mean, by having time to think to yourself or work on, like do you know what I mean, by having it in your locker, you have time on your break to think to yourself. And instead of looking at somebody's vacation to France and being like, oh, I wish I was in France. And then it just sets off a negative tone, right? And that's something that I I know it affects me even, right? Like if I see somebody, but like I like vacations, right? So if I see somebody doing something really interesting like that, I'll get a little envious, and then it just kind of sets my personal like a mental tone for the day by being envious of somebody else. And I'm just in a bad mood all day and I don't even realize why, but it really is just from something I seen on a phone that doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form. So it's not just the sleep part, it's a real addiction that causes so many other issues than just having effect on your sleep, I think, because like I said, it can bring negative mental health issues. It brings just, we're not present anymore with people. And like even with your friends, you're still sitting there texting on your phone while you're hanging out with your friend you may not even seen in a couple of years. And like my mom trying to tell me something and I'm not listening to her because I'm texting. It affects our lives so much more than we really realize. So putting those things into practice would really help everybody with their being able to separate from phone to real life, you know?
Yeah. Right. So, Jasmine, we all, myself included, I think it's human nature. We listen to a podcast, we feel inspired. We're like, oh yeah, that is a great idea. I resonate, etc. But then a week later, we realize, oh, I haven't done any of the things. So I want to give everybody listening kind of a gentle challenge to from today and for 10 days to do, you know, two or three of the things that we talked about today. Doing your work only on your laptop, not on your phone. Putting the phone away for a chunk of hours in the middle of the day and just like focusing on what you're doing. Or, the 2 hours before bed, using the blue blockers, minimizing the blue light, or in the middle of the night, having your phone be in another room. Make it so that you're comfortable and and people can reach you in an emergency, but otherwise in another room. Do some of those things for the next 10 days, like an experiment. I really love that when people give advice. I like to do it wholeheartedly for 10 days. And then at the end of the 10 days, evaluate. Like, I did the thing, is my life better? And then it's up for you to decide.
Hmm.
You tried, you did the best you could, and was it worth it? Maybe you'll think, oh yeah, being on my phone all the time adds more to my quality of life. I don't think that you will decide that, but you've got the information, right?
Hmm.
And you can
Exactly.
decide what adds more to your quality of life.
I love that. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. Is there a way if people would like to reach you that they could, if they'd want to talk more about this kind of stuff? I don't know if you like have like a sleep clinic or if you take clients or anything like that.
Yeah,
Do
so my business is Skilled Sleeper. You can find me at skilledsleeper.com. I have a series of online courses that are designed specifically for unique populations. Like I've got one that's on women's sleep, one that's for families, one that's for shift workers, one that's for law enforcement. So and others. So if whatever your demographic or your current lifestyle, I have one that is a deep dive for that group. And that's kind of unique. You'll see some other sleep doctors have a sleep course, but it's not customized and it needs to be
it
customized because,
does.
yeah,
My
women's
husband
sleep.
my husband's a shift worker and I've never ever heard of some like that would be perfect for him because his sleep is off so much. So I really think that's smart to have that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So there's one for specifically for shift workers. And then you can find me on social media at Skilled Sleeper, and I have a Substack. And yeah,
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm also going to provide all of those links at in the show notes. And thank you for coming on. And we are all who's listening doing the 10-day challenge because
wonderful.
I
Thanks,
think that
Yasmin.
it'll help. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.